Hey Dwight.
Yeah, hello. How are you?
Hello, welcome to Rappler. Actually, this is my bedroom. This is not Rappler.
Good one.
Welcome to the Rappler digital space. Yes, we are streaming this on all of Rappler's channels running right now, including Kumu. We're here on the Rappler Facebook page, as well as our YouTube, even LinkedIn. So please give us a shout out. We'll give you a shout out too, maybe, if especially if you send us diamonds on Kumu. Dwight, we have Dwight here from Lowbrow, which you might not be familiar in terms of that name, but you might very much be familiar with the restaurants under Dwight. Give Why don't you tell them which brands fall under Lowbrow?
Well, we have four restaurants. So there's Bad Bird. We have one in Mega Mall, and there's Foul Bread in BGC High Street. And then we have two in the Grid in Power Plant Mall. So that's Beefier and Flower Boy. So they're not that big.
Mm.
But yeah, I hope people know us, even if we're not that, I guess, spread out.
Well, now people know you. I hope people are watching this, and people can watch this in the future. By the way, that's the beauty of these live video streams, right? Dwight? They
Yeah.
are here forever. So, meaning you can't mess up at all. Don't mess up.
Now I'm scared.
I'm just playing. So as you can see I'm multitasking a bit here. I just want to share also on my Instagram feed that we're on Kumu. If you're watching on, let's say, Facebook or YouTube, but you have a Kumu account, highly encourage you to hop on Kumu so that you can show us some love via some hearts, maybe even some diamonds if you like what you hear. So Dwight, I'm going to tag you here on my Instagram. Dwight, what's the lowbrow Instagram again for everyone?
Oh, it's Eat Lowbrow. So EATLOWBROW. So Eat Lowbrow.
Awesome. Okay, so we are live right now with Ito Brown. Other ways people can find you on other platforms?
Well, it's Facebook and Instagram, and you can check out our shop. So it's lowbrowshop.com. So that's where you can
Awesome.
buy the food.
Awesome.
And also Food Panda and Grab in case you want to use the apps. So we're also available there.
Nice. Okay, about to post this.
Okay,
Follow me
cool.
on Instagram. Okay, anyway. Woo! All right. I think we're ready to go. We have an exciting interview here with Dwight of Lowbrow. Reminding everyone, if you're tuning in right now, we'd love to hear from you, whether it's just showing us some love, or more importantly, if you have questions with Dwight about restaurants or about Lowbrow's restaurants specifically, or how they can order, send those our way via the comment sections, and I will forward your message, so to speak. Okay,
Okay.
Dwight, you ready to start with this thing?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is Hustle Inside the Industry, where we talk to professionals and find out how they got here, why they're doing what they do, and what it takes to do it. We're live right now here on all Rappler channels, including Kumu. If you're streaming us on Kumu, please join in on the conversation. You can send over some questions or some diamonds if you like what you hear. And if you're not yet on Kumu, you can download the app and make sure to follow Rappler.com. If you like this interview and you want to play it back in podcast form, you can follow Hustle Inside the Industry on Spotify or any podcast platform. This episode comes out Monday, September 20. So it's going to be an edited down version of this podcast of this interview, Dwight, without all of our mess ups. So we
Okay,
get a second
cool.
chance.
I like that clean.
Anyway, as always, this is your host Powie, and throughout the past year, man, um, food has been keeping me alive, literally, as I'm sure everyone has. But for me specifically, uh, I. I mean this with all sincerity, Dwight. I regularly order from Foul Bread, love the OG chicken sandwich, and Bad
Thank you.
Bird. And
Thank you.
if you are if you out there like me are fans of both restaurants, you probably wouldn't be surprised to know that these chicken joints are both under the same group of restaurants, along with Beefier, Flower Boy, and more. Lowbrow is the name, and casual dining is their game. To talk more about the philosophy behind the food, we have Dwight Coe, managing partner of Lowbrow. Hey, Dwight, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Awesome. Okay, so for all our hungry audiences out there, why don't you give us an appetizer, if you will, of Lowbrow and what it's about?
Well, I guess lowbrow. If you just read the name, well, we are actually lowbrow because we're not highbrow. So, uh, we try to make food that people eat. We try to make food that's authentic to us. Although the word authentic, I guess it's very loaded. It means so many things
Right.
to so many people, and people really get riled up when you say something's authentic, something's not authentic, and I guess the lines are very blurry. It's very hard to draw the lines. So, but for us, I guess authenticity means is it's a lot of things. So I guess first, traditionally, I don't really subscribe too much about being a purist to like cuisines. For example, some people would take up arms to defend that, and I fully understand why. So, right, sushi, for example, you're not supposed
Mm,
to dip it in soy sauce, or there are a
no
lot of rules.
California rolls. No, no, no.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of rules. I get why people would be mad about keeping the tradition alive. But for us, I guess that's not who we are. Like with authenticity, like for us, it's really about making something that's, I guess, important to you or that means something to you. So it doesn't matter if you break any rules, because the rules are very hard to enforce. I mean,
Yeah.
an example would be there was a restaurant in the U.S. like made by a white person that served congee. Did you see that one? There was people were
Which
up in
one?
arms.
Because there's multiple.
Well, there's one, I forgot the name,
Okay,
but
okay, no, no, I don't
basically,
know this one. I don't know the one with the congee.
oh,
But
there
there's a
there was
really
one
good
like
Filipino-owned restaurant in Seattle, Kraken Congee. Love that spot. Anyway, go
which
on.
one? I mean, I've been hearing a lot of like Filipino
Kraken
spots pop
Congee.
up.
It's
Sorry,
pretty great. Kraken
well,
Congee. It's
Kraken
actually
Kanji. I haven't
Filipino
seen
run.
this one.
Yeah, that's in
Oh, okay.
Seattle. Yeah. Anyway, go
Oh,
ahead.
okay,
Go ahead.
okay. But yeah, there's this story like there's this white woman with the kanji shop, and basically she said she makes better kanji than like the Chinese people do. So
Whoa.
yeah, I think her exact words were like, "I've improved on the kanji." So
Yee.
uh,
Okay.
of course, people are understandably like very angry, right? But I guess that one, I would get why people are mad. But on the other hand, you would have some people like Fusha Dunlop. Do you know her?
Okay. No, I'm not
She's a
familiar.
she's a white chef, but basically grew up in the U.S. but moved to China, cooks Chinese food only, and
Mm-hmm.
then she speaks Mandarin like perfectly. But when you
Mm,
look at her, like how she looks, she's very white, like very
yeah.
white, and people don't shit on her
Yeah.
because she knows what she's talking about. She studied the food. She's been there for a long time. But I guess the challenge there is like, where do you draw the line to say that this person is authentic and this person is not authentic? It's just very hard to police because there's
Yeah.
just so many gray areas there. So like with us, it's we don't want to enter that, I guess, that
Mm,
arena where we're fighting to say we're the most authentic this and we're the most authentic that. So we try to avoid that as much as we can.
got it.
So, and then I guess authenticity to us also means, I guess, also believing in science and information, which is a big deal right now. I mean,
Yes.
ivermectin.
Welcome to Rumor. Yes,
um,
please fact check. Correct.
yeah, fact checking. I'm sure you guys in Rappler, that's an important thing to you. But like with food too, that's a pretty big deal with food because a lot of people don't believe in the science because it's been done a certain way for a very long time. Um, I think one very popular example would be like MSG.
Mm,
People always are angry about MSG because
right.
because 90s information.
It has like
Because
a
in the
certain
90s,
negative connotation automatically.
yeah, like in the
Although
90s.
it's
But
like ubiquitous, it's everywhere. Like you know what I
yeah,
mean?
and it's proven to be safe. And there's a lot of with MSG, it's basically extracted from nature. I mean, it's a chemical that you extract from like fermenting bacteria,
Right.
basically. So if you're gonna use the unnatural angle, okay, MSG is unnatural and it poisons your body. The thing is, you extract that from algae, you extract that like from fermenting fish.
Right.
So it's basically the same thing. And the
Yep.
people who hate MSG, they wouldn't have, I guess, a problem like eating soy sauce, for example. And soy sauce is full of
Right.
MSG.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
so
Anyway, there's a great episode of this on was it David Chang who gave a good scientific explainer on that. It was on one of the early Netflix cooking shows, but that's when I learned about it. And it's one of those arguments, right, Dwight, that kind of boils down to the thing itself is not particularly like detrimental to your health,
yeah,
but obviously excessive amounts of that,
yeah,
just like
right.
excessive sugar, can be bad
Yes,
for you.
perfect. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Right. So
yeah,
we're on the same page.
yeah.
Um, I think
Got
if
it.
you eat like an excessive amount of salt versus an excessive amount of MSG, you will die faster with salt
Yeah,
than
I
with
think so too.
MSG.
Yeah.
So,
Well, okay.
um,
So yeah, where does so there's clearly like a lot of it's you can go on the Lowbrow site, by the way. So again, that's eatlowbrow.com, correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
Lowbrow
But
Shop is our shop. So lowbrowshop.com. But Eat Lowbrow
lowbrowshop.com.
is our Instagram handle.
Right, right. Lowbrowshop.com. If you guys check it out, it's basically it's basically Dwight talking at you, definitely with the philosophy, which is why for me what makes you also compelling. But before we delve even deeper, because I think this is going to be like a rich conversation all throughout, let's take it back to the basics really quick, and let's talk about you personally. Why don't you tell our audience what was your professional background prior to Lowbrow, or even the first restaurant, whichever that was,
Okay.
and how did it eventually lead there? How did you go about deciding, hey, I'm gonna get into restaurants?
Okay. Well, my background has nothing to do with restaurants. So in college, I entered college in Ateneo. Like my first course was physics. So and then I shifted out because I didn't think that I would like it that much, and I moved to management, and then I moved to information design.
Oh my god!
Uh, and then I eventually dropped out. So
Wow.
because I decided like I didn't like school that much. It wasn't very engaging to me. Like it felt really slow to me. So started working doing so since my last course was information design. So I was designing. So I was a designer for a long time. So there I was just doing
Sorry,
like
what
freelance
kind of design? Graphic
graphic design.
design. Okay, excellent.
Yeah. So I was doing that for a long time, couple of years. Also ran a photography studio. So, a lot of it is like creative work. And then basically, I only got an opportunity to like start restaurants when like one of my clients, who's now my partner, approached me, and then said like, "Hey, you want to do a restaurant?" And like I didn't know anything about it, but it's always been very entertaining to me. I've always thought about it as a kid, and then basically that's it. That's just how we got
No.
started. So it just snowballed from there.
Which restaurant and what year was this?
Well, I don't remember the exact year, but it was probably around 2012, I'm guessing. So our first restaurant was Wrong Ramen in BGC. I don't know if
Oh,
you've
Wrong
ever
Ramen.
seen that one.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
it's right there. Yeah, I'm in
there.
BGC,
So,
so
oh, okay, okay. So
yeah.
it's a very tiny ramen shop. We were very lucky. I think when we started out, there was like endless lines every day, and this kind
Wow.
of emboldened us. So we got yeah, we didn't like learn that much. We just wanted to grow, and so we just got very aggressive without being like experts in what we did
Yeah.
because we were learning as we were going. So things were like super messy.
Well, what
So
about your partner? What was he bringing into the mix? What kind
well,
of expertise?
he's experienced in retail, so he's a lot more experienced than me. I was the one who didn't know how to do many things, so I had to learn things on the spot. Which to me is, I guess, that's how I generally operate. I don't wait to get ready. It's just like jump in and then whatever. Let's see what we can do here. So yeah, a bit reckless. It was fun. It was great, and we got here because of many bad decisions. So
Wow, I love it. That's already a soundbite, by the way. That's a quote for everyone. And just reminder always to our viewers and our listeners who aren't familiar with Inside the Industry. We run this every week, and kind of our philosophy, if you will, is to present, especially for those of you who are maybe trying to imagine different career paths or different directions you can take. We try to provide a glimpse into some of those avenues. So, we haven't actually had a food episode probably in a month, Dwight. So we like to alternate between industries. It
oh, okay.
should probably be
Yeah, I
called
mean,
Inside the Industries then. Way. But I think that's already a big takeaway for
right.
our listeners over there. Like, through successive multiple mistakes, you're still gonna end up somewhere, right? And hopefully it's on
That's
Rappler.
not the
I
moral
wanna
of the
talk.
story. I think you read it wrong.
Okay, we're cutting that out of the edited version. Dwight, you get a second chance. Well, no. Well, why don't we then continue the story from there, right? And I do think it's quite poignant that your first restaurant was called Wrong Ramen. And yes, by the way, if you are watching, no matter where you're watching from, as long as you're watching live, please send us over some questions. If you're on Kumu, maybe some hearts and some diamonds. I'm gonna continue along this story, Dwight. So, okay, you had Wrong Ramen, right? And then somewhere along the line, all these other restaurants came up, and I think that's what you were getting at, right? So what
Yeah,
was it
yeah.
like? What were your main takeaways from that first venture, and what about that made you feel like you could, you know what, take on newer ventures within the same industry, and different ones, by the way. This We have a fried chicken joint, we have a Thai spot, a burger spot. Tell us
Yeah.
the logic behind all that.
Okay. Well, well, first, I guess it has to be. That time we weren't called Lowbrow yet. We just made some restaurants. So, uh, I guess the first line of thinking whenever like I would do something, it's always like, is this something that I'm personally invested in? Because if not, then there's no point. Like, is it something I really love? And I guess the reason why we're in those spaces, ramen and fried chicken, these are like high sodium, high fat foods that I really love.
Indulgent, comfort, leisure. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you if you try counting the amount of KFC and Jollibee in my body, so you
I'm
would
not gonna
never
do that
end.
right now, but yes, go on.
But yeah, these are spaces where I guess we thought that we could do better, and I think we'd always enter spaces where we think there's room to be the best. Because if
Mm,
there's already someone really good in that space that we don't think we can do better than this one, then we probably won't even bother. So that time, because when we started ramen, the current ramen places, they weren't like
I agree.
they weren't there
Right.
yet. I'm sure you've tried like Mendocoro, for example,
Yeah. Yeah. So
which I
Mendocoro
love.
wasn't around at that time yet, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, the ramen market was rather the dine-in ramen market was rather new at that time. Yeah.
yeah. So that time we were still doing it because it's something that we really loved. It's something that's close to me, and like we just like did it because there's an opportunity and it's very personal food. So both me and my partner, we were both like into ramen like a lot. So and Mendocoro didn't exist. Because if Mendocoro existed during that time, we
You would have gone with the next thing. You're like, okay,
yeah,
what? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
They're very hard. They're so good. I mean, they're so good.
yeah.
So yeah, generally that's how we want to do it. So we did that, and then we did fried chicken. Fried
Okay.
chicken's another thing because it's always fast food. The thing with fried chicken, it's
Hmm.
always fast food. Like
Right.
outside fast food, you don't really order fried chicken in restaurants, right? So that's something that we try to do. Like maybe there's something more that we can do with fried chicken, and then that's what we did, like with Bad Bird.
Mm.
So after that, the offshoot was foul bread, and we were thinking the same thing. Like, what's another thing that's adjacent to this that we kind of already understand and have a good grasp of? And then we thought, like, okay, maybe a fried chicken sandwich, because the only one you can get is the zinger, basically,
Oh,
right? So
right. Yeah.
right? I
Super
mean, it's
different.
only the Zinger. There's nothing else in the market.
True.
You would also have Burger King's like long fried chicken sandwich, which I also like for what it is. Um, but then that's it, right? So that's something that we also thought that maybe these are products that are underserved. Not too many good options around there. So we'll take a crack at it. So these days, though, the landscape's completely changed. 'Cause it's very hard to be unique now. So because it's so easy to start a restaurant these days. Well, not a restaurant, like any food business, right? So you open
Yes.
Instagram and there's
Yeah.
something there.
Yeah.
So these days, like being unique isn't like the most important thing to me right now, because it's very hard to be unique. And sometimes when you try too hard to be original, you end up with something too weird and too
Mm.
crazy that it no longer makes sense. So I don't know,
Mm.
sushi pizza, for example. I mean,
Oh man, I'm buying. I mean, anyway, yeah, no, no, but that's great. It's all about balance, right? And again, everything you're saying is it's all there. It's all there in the menu, in the packaging, and we're gonna go into that for sure. Um, I think many people who have experienced your restaurants and had your food can see a very distinct character here. Reminder again to everyone: please send in those questions if you want, whether it's about the restaurant industry or lowbrow specifically, or questions you have for Dwight, what have you. I just want to go a little. Um, I guess this is more of just a general information, general education question here, Dwight, because this particular episode is about casual dining with lowbrow,
right.
right? And what you're talking about is like the vast contrast between fast food and I've had adjacent uh, food and beverage industry experience, and I've noticed
Oh wow.
that at least over the past decade, there are new segments popping up, new market segments, and you have like, for example, like fast casual
Right.
popularized by Chipotle in the states. So why don't you just quickly tell our audience a bit, like give us a sense of like what are the tiers of restaurants, especially here in the Philippines, and how do they differ, and how do you uh, differentiate between them?
Okay. Well, because there's so many ways to think about like how to, I guess,
Mm.
categorize restaurants. I guess the most straightforward way would be by price.
Yeah,
These are
yeah,
the fine places, these are the
yeah,
middle places, and these are the affordable places, right? I mean,
right,
people usually think according to price. You could also think about it in terms of I guess the types of places that it serves, so family style, fast
true,
casual, right? So there's a lot of ways to put boxes, but I guess increasingly over time, the boxes are getting more and more blurred. Because like, what does like a family restaurant mean today, as
right.
opposed to
Oh
like
my
what a
gosh,
family restaurant meant in the 90s?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
right? So you could throw that
totally.
label away. Like, what is a family restaurant? Because funny, I mean, Mendocoro, for example, I wouldn't call that a family restaurant,
No,
right?
certainly
Because
not.
it's so uncomfy.
Yeah,
It's a bar. You don't have large seats for like families, right? But then you'd see like a family of 10 eat, and there's broken apart into small groups, right?
yeah,
Um, so I guess it's very hard to define. And if you're in, I guess yeah, the terms are very blurry right now. So when I say fast casual here versus fast casual in the US,
Right.
it means like completely different things,
That's
right?
true. Very different. Very different
Yeah,
markets.
yeah. When you, because in the US, like fast casual will be something like Shake Shack, for example,
Yeah.
which where you can get like wine, where you can get
Right.
like um, where it's pretty pricey, right? But here, fast casual would be like Army Navy, maybe, uh,
True. Yeah. Yeah.
right? But then if you look at the pricing of Army Navy and Shake Shack, they're nowhere.
Yeah.
They're not the
Oh,
same.
Shake Shack is premium over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's very hard to, I guess, draw those lines. I mean, I really don't think that way because I have a hard time like distinguishing like which is which. So
And then, so how does lowbrow then uh, feel like it uh, fits into the mold? And what would you say then, given those different categories? What are the traits of lowbrow for the Filipino market?
well, the way I think about it, people always with business, people like to, I guess, categorize restaurants to according to the market they serve, right? So this is
Yeah.
the restaurants for this market, right? Um, but I think a very helpful, I guess, paradigm to think about that is to think about the job of the restaurant. I guess when I say job, each restaurant does a particular thing for people. And I guess the most obvious answer is to serve food. I mean, that's the most obvious answer. You make a restaurant to serve food, right? But I think each restaurant has specific jobs that they want to do for people. So an example would that of that would be Vikings, which is a
Ah, yeah.
buffet,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
the job of Vikings, you don't go there alone and eat, right? So it's not
Yeah.
like a loner place. You go there with like a family of like 20 people, and then you get like a discount when you bring like 30 people in the mix. So it's basically a party place. So that's the job of Vikings.
Okay.
So when there's a place like Marugame Udon. Have you been
Mm-hmm.
there?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that place, I mean, it's fast food, but the place is really nice. I mean, it looks like a restaurant, but the prices
Hmm.
are priced like slightly above fast food.
Yeah.
But then it's so the food's good for the price for what you pay for. It's great. The place is always packed. I think it's the best Japanese food that you can buy at that price. Um,
Mm.
but then there's a specific job to it. Like it's a lunch place. Like when
Yeah.
you have no time, you want something good, you don't have a big budget,
If you're on the
and
clock,
yeah, it's
you line
perfect.
up, you go in that line, and then you come right out the other side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I think about it. Like
Okay.
this category does a particular job for people. So that those are the categories that I would like
Hmm.
put like how I would put the restaurants in. Like this is the type of thing that you're doing for
Hmm.
this type of people looking for this type of thing. So I would compare Marugame. I wouldn't compare Marugame with other Japanese places. I wouldn't say
Yeah,
Marugame
of course not.
versus Kimpura or something for like a
Yeah.
Japanese place. I would say Marugame versus Army Navy because they're both like fast lunch
Hmm.
places.
Even
So
though it's
that's how,
different cuisines,
yeah,
they have the same job.
yeah.
I see.
So
What
that's
would you say then is what's the job of lowbrow restaurants? And are these uniform? Right? Are these uniform
yeah.
jobs even though they're all different brands?
Okay, so with us, it's always about, of course, comfort food, basically, something you would like to eat. So you run to this place when you want something you are craving really bad for junk food, but your desire for junk isn't so junky. You want junk
Mm.
food, but then you have standards, right?
Hmm.
So,
I
uh,
feel attacked right now. Yes. That's exactly. And by the way, when I've eaten at your restaurants, they've tended to lean more towards, this is pre-COVID days, of course, but like the past 8 or even 9ish. It's
yeah.
like not regular dinner time. I'm like really craving. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that is, I guess, our job. When you're
I see.
craving, and you want something unhealthy, but you have high standards, that's where we are.
I love it. I love it. A little junky but classy. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not your copywriter. I don't mean to slap taglines on you, but okay, okay. Let's So, by the way, shout out to Lorenzo Tan, who seems to be a fan of Marugame. Yay! I love Marugame
Hello.
too. Hello. Again, anyone who wants to make fun comments like that or send questions, we'd love to hear from you. So let's fast forward to nowadays. These are, I guess, the burning questions here. Okay, we got to talk about the pandemic. You mentioned
Right.
it earlier. Um, we've had numerous food businesses on this podcast that have shifted in many ways throughout the past year. From me, from a consumer standpoint, um, not knowing too much about lowbrow, but having had much of your food, I noticed there was this active move towards centralization. Where, oh, by the way, I didn't know about lowbrow. Right? Again, I only knew foul bread. I knew
Mm.
bad bird. But then
Everyone
on
tells
all
us the same thing.
right, so on the foul bread page, it's like, oh, don't follow us on this page, follow us on lowbrow. So for me, that seems to have been your shift, among other things. But let's let you talk. What were the big shifts for lowbrow over the course of March 2020 to now?
Well, everyone's talking about restaurants having a hard time, so that is not an understatement. It really is a very hard time. It's existential. Like we're fighting for our lives. So so really, the first thing that comes to mind is always like cutting costs, like wherever we can. So. Like me personally, I'm not taking any pay like for the longest time.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, living off yung savings lang for a long time. But of course, I can't hold out forever. So these are things that we have to think about. So like you said, social media, for example, we have four brands, but then we only have one social media manager. So
It's not you,
there are
right?
those.
Oh, is it
Sorry.
Camille?
No, no,
Is
no, no. So Camille
Oh,
does her
okay, okay.
PR.
Oh,
So,
got
but
you,
yeah,
got
we have one social media manager. So of course, rather than trying to maintain four, we don't really have the time to make content for them. You know, we just decided, okay, let's just make it one, and then
you.
force
Wow.
people to follow the mother company. But
Right,
then, of
right.
course, so it doesn't. You don't see that outside, right? But that's the chaos happening.
It's funny because,
Uh,
like, to me, it's like, oh, it's a strategic play, and for you, it's like this is practical.
yeah,
It's all
it's not actually. Yeah, it's a desperation play.
practical.
So for us, it's really that we wouldn't have done that because there's a lot of confusion. Like yeah, like you said, like what is lowbrow? Who knows lowbrow? Nobody knows lowbrow. And but then we can't. We also said like we can't keep on doing this forever because that would mean we would hire more people to manage the pages, and then we also
Yeah,
don't have the budget for it, right? So yeah, we decided to like consolidate. And I guess together with that, hand in hand with that, we had to do the our e-commerce shop too, right? And we can't manage four. We can't have like a badbird.com and a foulbread.com. So there's
hmm,
like too many, right? So we also had to name it something. So we decided to go with like the mother company and like consolidate everything there. So it was really both like brought about by the pandemic that we had to consolidate all of that together. Even if it wasn't the smartest move because you know, most people don't know who we are. So, but we were forced to do that.
hmm.
So, and you know, I'm sure you guys also experience it in Rappler. Like creating content is really hard right now. So,
Yeah,
you know, going
yeah.
out is hard. Schedules are hard. Like everything's just a lot harder. So we tried to like make that, I guess, more streamlined. So, so yeah, we're with COVID. Basically, our restaurants were cut in more than half. Staffing our staff was cut in more than half. That was very hard because you know people would come to you and you know just try to ask if they would still have a role.
Yeah.
Ask about the future. What about
And
next
we're talking,
month?
and this
What
is a
about
small. You're a small operation, so you know everyone quite, you know, intimately, even perhaps,
Yeah,
like, yeah, you're not a big company
yeah,
where you only talk to that guy a couple of times.
yeah. So it's very hard. So there was like one time uh where yeah, like one of her staff was telling me that she couldn't afford to pay the the bills anymore at home, and like she has a newborn, like literally like a few weeks
Uh,
old, and she couldn't afford to keep the lights on, like literally, not figuratively. Like she couldn't pay for lights. I'm
yeah,
like, holy shit! Like,
yeah,
oh my god, what am I gonna do? And then this was like simultaneously like trying to save the jobs of like other people who were also in like similar predicaments. So you would like need to make those very hard decisions, and and uh, and yeah, COVID made all of that very real. Because
yeah,
I'm not reckless when it comes to business. I would not make a decision that could sink the business. I take a lot of small risks constantly, but they're small. They're not gonna kill us.
yeah,
But like from like being safe, like suddenly we're like code red, like the ship is sinking, the house is
yeah,
burning, and like wow, this happened like 0 to 100 and we didn't get a heads up. So yes, it's very hard. Like these things are realities for us, and then I would need to make very unpopular decisions where no decision is a win. Both of them are bad
yeah.
decisions. And I
Uh,
just need to make one bad decision better than the other bad decision.
right. Not a
Uh,
worse decision, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
So COVID has been like that, just really forcing us to make a bad decision over worse decisions,
yeah,
and 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 it's very hard, I guess, emotionally, and like from I guess from an EQ standpoint, I would have to keep, I guess, a very strong and optimistic face in front of people, because I
yeah,
can't be. Of course, it can't be. Oh no, we're
yeah.
gonna die and there's
They're looking to
nothing left.
you. They're looking to you for the
I can't
solutions.
do that, right? You can't do that
Yeah.
because your I guess your energy is gonna be radiating towards everyone, and you infect everyone with that pessimism, and then it's over, right?
Oh, right.
So, regardless of the situation, I have to put on a strong face all the time, uh, but also kind of balancing that with being vulnerable, because I can't also pretend that everything is fine, because I can't like tell everyone, "Oh, we're doing great, there's no problem,"
Yeah.
right? And so it's kind of like balancing that, like the right amount of vulnerability that we are kind of in trouble, but also please be hopeful that we are going to get out
Got
of
it.
this
Got
somehow.
it.
But of course, that's also hard to say because, at the same time, while you're doing that, you're laying people off. So, I'm telling the people who survived to be hopeful, but how about the people who didn't? How about
Right.
them? So it's tough. It's really just playing a balancing act. So yeah, it's hard, and not a lot. A lot of people are sad. A lot of people are, I guess, struggling to process that. But what's also hard is a lot of people are angry too, right? So why me? Like, why am I the one who's dispensable, and why not this other person? So, and there would be threats. There would be all of these things, right? So it's very hard. It's very
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, I appreciate you sharing that with us. And again, to for everyone watching who's, you know, uh, really trying to learn about the business of doing business, these are the realities you must face. Don't take that as Dwight saying don't get into restaurants, of
Oh
course.
no, no, I'm not saying
Good
that.
orders. Yes,
In
yes.
fact,
But
right now
yeah.
is a great time. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I do think so. I do think so. Um, One thing I alluded to earlier. Oh, by the way, shout out to AJ Hernandez Pinas from Kumu. Hello. And if you're in Kumu, yeah, throw us some shout outs. Oh, actually, do we have any other comments here? Aha! Yay! I think we do have. Hold on. Okay, we have some viewer comments here. Maybe we can sneak one in. Ah,
Okay.
okay. This one's from Eric Puna on Facebook. Hey, Eric. Thanks for tuning in. Uh, Dwight, what's the one initiative you had throughout this pandemic that yielded the most positive results so far? Like good results. I
Oh,
know positive is a
okay.
sensitive word.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess one thing that I think we did right was building our own shop, because that's one of the things like a lot of
The
restaurants
online
think.
shop.
Yeah, our own shop, because you can sell our online shop. Yeah, because you can sell through like Food Panda or Grab, right? So that's always the question, like where do you sell? Like I know a lot of restaurant owners are not happy with like Grab and Food Panda because they feel like it's predatory. I mean, the cuts are very high because they take a huge cut of the sales, but I don't think
Mhm.
they're bad. I think if they didn't exist, we would be much worse off. So
Yeah.
if these
Oh,
delivery services,
they're they're saving lives right now, and
yeah,
they're creating jobs, which is a
yeah,
huge deal. Yeah.
yeah. But if you talk to like restaurant owners, most of them wouldn't be saying that. They would be like, they're taking so much of our money, right? So,
Yeah.
which I understand because it's painful, giving like one third of your sales to like this
Right.
service. Ouch.
No, we get it.
Um,
We get it.
but yeah, I mean, a lot of people are gonna be like, okay, maybe let's just sell through Grab and Food Panda, or versus like let's make our own thing. But one advantage of like having your own thing, if you can run your own online shop, is that you have direct contact with your customers. You can
Mm.
connect with your customers, and I think that's very, 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 very important. Because like with Food Panda and Grab, yes, you're getting the sales, and that's good. But long term, you don't know who bought from you. You don't know where they are. You don't know who they are, and you can't send them like nice emails telling them how much
Yeah.
you appreciate them. So,
Aw,
uh,
that's great.
so like with us, we can customize that. We can customize like what kind of gifts we can give them during their birthdays. Uh,
Wow, that's so
so
awesome.
yeah, we can customize like if they'd like to send a note to someone if they're having some food delivered as gifts, we can do that, right?
Hey,
So
by
we
the way,
have,
that's a big trend right now during the pandemic, which has been very, it's been very uplifting to see, and I myself find joy in doing that too. It's just a nice thing to do,
yeah, it's a nice thing to
especially
do,
during
right?
these times. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the environment is so I guess pessimistic, right? So
Yeah.
doing every small nice thing is a nice thing to do. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, so that's something we started. So we allowed people to send like postcards together with their order, so you can have a message customized, write it down the website, and we write down a message for you. So I think this is one thing that we did very well. We have direct line with our customers, and we know who they are, and I think they're also very happy communicating with us, and we can also resolve customer service issues really fast because
Yeah.
with like Food Panda and Grab, if they had a bad experience, they would get directed to someone you don't know and someone who probably doesn't
Yeah.
care too much about
Yeah.
your business.
Yeah.
So so like with us, we see that, like we see, okay, food wasn't delivered on time, it wasn't hot, like whatever, we can get on like immediately and we can fix that like ASAP.
Oh,
So that's something that I think we did quite nicely during the
yeah.
pandemic.
It sounds like it. And I also wanted to acknowledge Joey Manera on Facebook, who he also had a question, but I think you actually answered it. His question was, what do you think of the differences or edge of self-operated restaurants to hotel-owned restaurants? And I think the bigger question there is like the benefit of being small versus being big. And I think you worded that quite nicely, Dwight. So
Thank you.
anyway, on that note, in terms of customization, I was kind of I alluded to it earlier. One thing that really stands out to me, especially when I order my foul bread, is the packaging. It's just so it's the quality is uh, it's top tier. Top tier packaging, very very beautiful. It's like very Instagrammable, right?
Oh,
I'm
thank
sure you
you.
know that, Dwight. I'm sure you know
Thank
that.
you.
But we had, for example, we had Sweet Ecstasy on the show early on into the pandemic, we also had El Union Coffee. Shout out to Sweet X and El Union,
Oh,
um, and and they were, they had to answer the tough questions early on, because it was literally, we had them, I think, around April and May, where everyone was still trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And what both of them said, what which I found interesting, was going from dine in to takeout and delivery. You not only have to deliver the food, you have to deliver the experience now. And for anyone who's pre-COVID, it's quite an experience. And I think you're definitely one of the places that has executed that pandemic shift quite effectively. So why don't we talk about that a bit more? How do you feel you're bringing the intimate, in-person, comforting, lowbrow experience to your customers today?
okay. Well, yeah, restaurants really, the most important thing about, like, the only edge actually that restaurants have over, let's say, home delivery services is the experience, right? So we're really an experience business. But yeah, like you said, it's also really tough to do that, like, in delivery. The most obvious, I guess, touch point would be the packaging, right? Because you see the box immediately. You touch it, you see it, you open it, you take a video of it, everything. So it's a very important experience. But that's something we've also struggled with because packaging is super expensive,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the minimum quantity is so high because you would need to have like 5 to 10,000 immediately if you want something
true.
custom. So if you've actually like ordered infallible bread, we have a lot of that in our storage, right? But since we're like small, we don't have a large storage. We don't have anywhere to put the other boxes. So if you look at our other boxes, they're like generic boxes, but we put like nice stickers and like put nice notes.
Yeah,
Um,
little things like that. Yeah.
yeah, we try to do those, but I guess personalizing the experience, the one thing that we're really trying to do right now is to do a great job on like digital customer service, our chat rooms and our emails. These are the places where we really like spend a lot of time on, because with that's the I guess customers see your website first, but after that they're going to talk to someone, and that someone has to do a fucking great job talking.
Yeah.
And
First
um,
line of defense.
yeah, so because if they can't, then it's everything goes downhill from there. um, so with like emails, we try to make them as emotionally intelligent as possible, and we try to use technology to account for I guess different scenarios, because right now there's a lot of email tools, email automation. I don't know if you've ever tried or heard,
Hmm.
but you can basically
Like
customize your emails
Mailchimp.
depending. Yeah, Mailchimp, Klaviyo, there's a lot, but you can customize the message depending on the conditions, right? So let's say a customer bought once, right? You can have a message to send out, oh, we saw that you bought for the first time, and the message
I
is
love that.
customized for customers buying it for the first time, right?
Right.
But if the customer has bought like thrice, then there's a message that's going to send out that's customized for a person who's bought 3 times, right?
Yeah.
So we try to like customize the messaging as much as we can, and then when we chat, we try to make it as human as possible, because most customer service usually you need to rely on templates, right? You would have
Yeah.
templates for replies. But for us, we try to do scenarios, not templates. So if this thing happens, so scenarios. So one
Mm.
scenario, the order is late, and it's the customer's birthday. So we
Ooh.
would try to,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
So that's a
I almost got a heart
terrible,
attack.
yeah, that's a heart attack scenario, right? So
Yeah.
we
Wow.
have scenario like that. So customer is
Wow.
late, and then birthday. Two terrible combination. Order is late, customer's birthday, terrible combination. So we would have huge paragraphs written in our internal documents, like these are the replies that you can do if something like that happens. So it's not like one reply. This is how you reply. These are like several things. So
Wow.
number one, read the emotional state of the person. Is the person super
Right.
angry or mildly angry? So it's a flow chart
Wow.
basically. Super angry does this, mildly angry you do this, and whatever. So that's something we're very, I guess, that's something that I think we're actually doing better now during the pandemic than in dine in. Because in dine in, I guess my problem was it's harder to control because you have so many people. With our customer service reps, we're only talking to like 3 to 5 people.
Yeah.
So it's easier to, I guess, control the quality, and I see the interactions online, so it's easier to coach. Okay, I saw
Interesting.
your message here.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the best way to have said this thing to this customer, so maybe we could have said it
Mm-hmm.
this way, kind of twist it, change this word, say
Mm-hmm.
thank you here instead of here. We can adjust it, I guess, more granular, because in
Yeah.
dine in I don't see exactly how everyone is talking to our customers, and
Yeah.
with, I guess,
And you
recovery,
can get your information secondhand. You can get a he
yeah,
said, she
it's always
said
secondhand.
scenario. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm not even sure if it's accurate. So
Exactly.
and here, because in the Philippines, one of the hardest things about managing is, especially like in the restaurant, for example, people are always afraid of you. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to intimidate them. Although people always tell me I can be intimidating, but I'm not trying to intimidate them. We don't have policies that we don't have policies that punish people. So, for example, some restaurants would charge their staff, like the amount that they fucked up, right? So, if
Mm,
you fucked up this dish, you
yep.
oversalted it, right? They
Yep.
would bill their staff that the cost of the
I
food, right? Like, we don't do shit like that. I mean,
I
that
I'm sorry, but I haven't I never returned to restaurants that have done that to me. Like I know that like I get it. Like I accidentally spilled the thing.
yeah,
But yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Interesting.
we don't do any of that. But even with, I guess our policies are fair. Try to talk to people nicely. Everyone's still afraid because there's a culture here. Our culture, we're very fearful, and we're very, I guess, when there's an authority figure, people freeze up. So it's been very hard to me. It's been very hard for me to get like very, I guess, honest answers. Okay, what happened here? Customer was very angry, and I'm gonna ask like, what happened? I want a retelling of the events, but not because I'm gonna get mad at the person. Because I want to know, because I want to fix the problem, like, so it doesn't happen again. But I guess the first instinct of many people is to be, ay, mapapagalitan ako, or
Yeah.
I like something,
And
right?
naturally so. These are instinctive
Yeah.
reactions. But
So that's a challenge that I've had,
interesting.
like, in fixing customer service dine in, because I don't get the full picture always. So we're not always able to, I guess, fix the problem all the time. So there, basically, it's right now in the pandemic, I think we're able to do a better job there because we can see the interactions and we can fix them right away. So I think we leave with a lot of happier customers
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. That's nice. We always get silver linings no matter which crisis, and I think that's a really good example. We haven't gotten that one on the show yet, so it's very interesting just how many dimensions there are to the food and beverage industry. Like we can turn this talk show into a food podcast and get like 100 truly unique episodes. In fact, our next
Yeah.
episode, tune in next week, we're going to be interviewing Mad Eats, which is a cloud kitchen, so that's
Oh, okay.
completely different. Yeah. So do I
Oh,
tune
wow.
in for that one? Um, but anyway, we're wrapping this up nicely. Unfortunately, we are running out of time a bit. We want to
Yeah.
talk about the future really quick, Dwight. You have some interesting initiatives going on, kind of refining the service now and honing the e-commerce platform. Uh, what where where do you see Lowbrow headed over the next year, or what are you hoping for Lowbrow in the near future?
Well, we're still pushing for. I guess our online experience is really our focus. With the pandemic, because I've learned not to bet against the pandemic because it's been failing me for like 2 years now.
Yeah, you don't want to be a gambler right now. Yep.
Yeah, because I'm always like, this is gonna end like in 6 months. This is gonna end in 6 months. So
Yeah.
every time we do that, it doesn't happen. So we're really going all in online. So dine in, I would love for it to return, but I'm not too optimistic that it's going to return soon. Like maybe a
Yeah.
year, 2 years. But then if we don't push delivery, then we're gonna have a hard time. Um,
Yeah.
so sorry. So delivery, I really want to have a great online experience that's really personal, uh, and I think for us that's really the goal. The product is one thing, because
Hmm.
a lot of people focus on product, and but it's really when you interact with a person and you feel like this person really cares about you, even if you've never seen this person.
Yeah.
It's such a
Yeah.
big deal. It's a huge
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is really to try to use all the technology that we can to make it really feel like this company cares about you, and
Nice.
we will do whatever we can because we care about you. And
Yeah.
yeah, and we might fuck up. Our motto, like in our website, I put it there. I put our motto there. It says, "Make it great or make it right." Um, and I
That's
like
cool.
that motto because the make it right part, that's our safety because we fuck up a lot. Sometimes it's late, sometimes it's not hot, sometimes the container isn't sealed, something spills, whatever. All right. So with our customer service, that's what we also try to do. We want the make it right part to be very strong because we are not. I don't want to pretend that we're foolproof, that we can do everything perfectly all the time. So if we
Yeah.
screw up, we're just gonna fucking fix it, and we're gonna do
Yeah.
everything we can to fix the problems. So like with us, that's what we're trying to do. Like really making the digital experience. I wouldn't say the same. I would actually say better than the physical
Mm.
experience.
Mm.
So I actually want to make it better than the physical experience.
Right.
So yeah, that's where we are right now.
Yeah. And you kind of also tied back to your initial statement, which is on authenticity, and I think a huge part of authenticity is acknowledging flaws like that. And so I do think in this interview at least you've truly delivered on your messaging here.
Oh,
um
thank you.
but last question for the interview for everyone out there, whether you're an aspiring restaurateur or you just like food in general, which I hope is many of you, what last bits of advice would you offer people?
Okay, well, if you're starting out like completely from scratch, and you're young, the great thing about today is that wasn't available pre-pandemic is that it's so easy to start a new thing,
Hmm.
like ridiculously easy. So, which is actually perfect, because restaurants are capital intensive. You would need millions to start one, and it's very hard to get burned on your first attempt because if you burn through that first attempt, there's nothing after that, right? Because if you burn like 10 million on your first attempt, like
That's
yeah,
it.
what comes in after, right? So but like right now is a great time to test the waters. So never start a restaurant. Start a food delivery thing from your home
Hmm.
kitchen.
Hmm.
Do it with as little money as possible, uh, and then do not bet your
Use
life
your phone
savings on
number.
it.
Use your phone number. Use your Instagram, your
Yes,
Viber.
use your phone number, use Cash, use Instagram, use all the free things,
Yeah,
and then start
nice.
it from home. And then when you start it, get feedback, but only listen to the negative feedback and only from
Wow,
paying customers. So
that's a
because
great piece of advice. Yeah.
yeah, every person who cares about you will tell you good things only.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
and every person who does not pay will not be honest with you. So when you do it, get feedback immediately and get it from people who paid, and then listen only to the negative ones.
Hmm.
And then so you have an accurate view of like where you stand. And right now, it's very hard to launch a product where people are gonna say, "Well, it's okay, I like it." That's if you hear anything like that, then I think you need to start from scratch.
Yeah.
because I like it is very bad feedback. Because when we send out food and people are like, I like it, we
Mm.
are like on full
Nope.
alarm. This is
Nope.
terrible.
Nope.
So,
That's like,
so
by the way, that's like whiplash. The two, what's it called? The two most dangerous words in the English language are good job, right?
yes, exactly, right. So yeah, but now's a great time to test because it's so easy to test. Lala Move is there, Grab is there, food delivery, just bring it out there and whatever.
Do
So
it.
yeah, so just go ahead. And the thing is, you can, no matter if you have a job, you can do it on the weekends. Just limit your delivery hours. Just say pick up on Sunday and Saturday. That's it. So
And by the way,
there's
some of
always
those
ways.
businesses that do limited drops are doing quite well. So yeah,
Yeah,
very valid. Very valid.
yeah. So I think for people who want to start, now is actually a great time to start. But don't start a restaurant now. A
Yes. Yes.
restaurant. But
Please. I'm asking
start
you.
to test your products now. And then when you have a good customer base,
Yeah.
do a restaurant later. Uh, so
Fantastic.
um,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Awesome. And by the way, I do want to give a little testimonial here just to prove how just to prove that what Dwight's saying is true about how much they communicate with people. We linked up with Lowbrow for this talk show via their Instagram. So yeah, it's you can just message them for whatever, and then you can end up on Rappler. No promises. Anyway, with
That's a
that said,
great
thanks.
deal.
Thanks so much, Dwight. We're not gonna let you
Thank
go
you.
just yet. We're gonna wrap things up now, as we always do with our play of the week. We talked a lot about work. Now it's time to talk about play. Any fun activities or recommendations for our listeners to unwind from the busyness of business? What you got, Dwight?
Uh, if you play video games, pick up Stardew Valley.
Oh my
you guys know,
god!
you guys
That-
know that game.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I haven't played it, but yeah, it's
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
basically it's a farming game where you build a farm and then you meet people and then you get married and shit and whatever and make friends and whatever and you build a farm. But of course, like
Mm.
me, I don't build the farm for fun. I build the farm to make money in Stardew Valley. So I make all the melons. So I sell wine and
Noted.
melons. That's it. So,
Noted. But you can
but
visit.
it's
You can
fun.
visit your friends and all that.
Yeah.
Can do all that. Fantastic. Okay, I'm so glad you mentioned that for your play of the week because mine is quite similar. So this is also a plug. So letting everyone know that Rappler Gaming League is back. We have more gaming content here on Rappler. There's even a Rappler Gaming League Facebook page which you can follow. But we also post our live streams on Rappler. So we had our first Rappler game night in a while last Friday. We played. Dwight, have you played Goose Goose Duck?
No, but I know that game.
Yes. Yeah, so it's basically Among Us but avian style. But what was so fun about that experience? That was last Friday for everyone who was tuning in on Rappler and watching us be idiots, late on a Friday night. So Dwight, if you're interested, we get like Rappler producers like myself or just people whom you don't really see, people who are normally behind the scenes. We had a couple people from Rappler's tech team, a few of our graphic designers, just like whoever was down to play and deceive each other online in public, in front of everyone. We got together and we did that. We're gonna be doing a different game each week. I believe we had our tech guys do the new NBA 2K22. So if you saw that one, next week, I don't know what the game is. Hopefully, I'll play. But Stardew Valley, we're gonna add that to the list for sure.
Great.
It
I
sounds
would
like the
love that.
perfect Rappler
Yeah.
game night.
Send me an email.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, it's done. It's done. It's official. It's official. Oh, okay, okay. I was just informed that. Perfect. Tune in next week. That's when we'll be reviewing and checking out NBA 2K22. So great. Anyway, with that said, thanks, Dwight. Where can people follow you again? And Lowbrow.
Oh, just at Eat Lowbrow in Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to try your food, just go to lowbrowshop.com. Yeah, if
Awesome.
you want a discount, if it's too expensive for you, just send us a DM. Like just say, saw you in
Wow.
Rappler. I'm I'm on a budget, but I'd like
Yeah,
to try your food. We'll give you a discount code. So
that's great.
send us a DM. It's yeah, just send us a DM.
Wow, that's very kind of you. Um, anyway, fantastic, Dwight. Also, if you wanna follow me, you can. I'm mostly on Instagram as well at Powie Fiction. You can also follow my co-host who unfortunately couldn't make it. At Tristan Zidampan. So he'll probably be joining us again next week. Thanks everyone out there for watching. I also want to shout out Rappler's production team. We got Marga and Naki, our community team, Ia, our creatives team, and our intern, Yana. Thanks everyone out there for listening. If you haven't already, please follow Rappler on all platforms. You can catch us on Kumu by following Rappler.com. And you can follow the Hustle Inside the Industry podcast on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We bring you a new edited episode every Monday so you can start your week with a little motivation. Bye, Dwight. Bye,
Okay,
everyone.
bye. Bye. Nice to meet
Have a
you.
good night.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. All right. See ya.